What if I told you that the most embarrassing moment of my entire life, standing in a grocery store checkout line with my card getting declined over an $11 purchase, actually revealed the money secret that changed everything for me? I'm talking about that soul-crushing moment when the cashier says,
"Declined!"
just loud enough for everyone in line to hear. When the woman behind you audibly sighs like you've personally ruined her day by being poor in public. When you're standing there with $12 in your account, an $11 purchase, and absolutely no idea why your card won't work. Here's the thing. That moment of complete financial humiliation taught me more about building actual wealth than any finance book, any expert, or any don't buy anything advice ever could. And I'm about to show you exactly how my 3 biggest money disasters accidentally became the exact system that took me from counting quarters for bus fare to actually building financial stability. I'm Beth. I'm the kind of person who walks into the store for just a few things and somehow leaves with a receipt that feels personal. If you've ever stared at a grocery total like, okay, but who approved this? You're in the right place. Look, I know what you're thinking. Another finance video where someone tells you to stop buying coffee and suddenly you become a millionaire. But here's where this is different. I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm going to show you what actually worked when I was so spectacularly broke that I was eating ramen for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And sometimes pretending to be on a juice cleanse when friends wanted to go out because I couldn't admit I literally couldn't afford a sandwich. We're talking about the kind of broke where you become a detective in your own life, tracking every single penny because one forgotten subscription can turn a grocery run into a public humiliation event. And here's what most people don't realize about being broke. It's not just about the empty bank account. It's about the constant mental gymnastics. It's the exhaustion of checking your balance 17 times before making a $5 purchase. It's calculating grocery totals in your head while shopping to avoid that exact card decline situation. According to a 2023 Bankrate survey, 57% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency expense. But here's the stat that nobody talks about. Most of those people are making the same 3 financial mistakes over and over without even realizing it. 3 specific mistakes that keep you stuck in the broke cycle, no matter how hard you work. So here's what we're doing today. I'm walking you through 3 comedic financial disasters from my spectacularly broke era, and each one contains a specific, actionable lesson that you can implement immediately. Not theory, not generic advice. Actual systems that work when you're starting from rock bottom. By the end of this video, you'll understand why tracking your balance isn't the same as knowing your money, the critical difference between cheap and economical, why chasing every money opportunity keeps you broke. So grab whatever snack you hopefully didn't have to choose over rent money, and let's dive in. Lesson number 1, the grocery store incident. Let's go back to that grocery store moment, because there's something deeper happening here that most people miss. Picture this. Okay, I'm standing in line with exactly $12.37 in my checking account. I've calculated every single item in my cart down to the penny, because that's what you do when you're operating on financial fumes. I'm actually feeling pretty proud of myself. Look at me being all responsible and budget conscious. I've got my list, I've stuck to it religiously, and the total rings up to $11.92. Perfect. I've even got 45 cents left over. I'm practically Warren Buffett at this point. But then, plot twist, my card gets declined. Declined. With $12 in my account and an $11 purchase. Now, you might be thinking, obviously an overdraft fee or something. But here's where it gets interesting. There was a pending transaction I'd completely forgotten about. Some subscription service I'd signed up for during a late-night infomercial weakness moment had just auto-renewed. So there I am, playing grocery store Jenga, trying to figure out which items to put back. Do I need the bananas more than the bread? Can I survive on just peanut butter without jelly? Is toilet paper really that essential? Spoiler alert, toilet paper is always essential. After what felt like 17 hours but was probably 3 minutes, I slinked out with my pathetic little bag of survival groceries and my absolutely wounded pride. Here's the $1 million lesson hiding in that cringe fest. I thought I was being responsible by checking my balance, but I wasn't accounting for all the little financial vultures quietly draining my account in the background. There's a massive difference between tracking your money and actually knowing your money. Most people check their balance and think they know their financial situation, but your balance is just a snapshot. It doesn't show the pending transactions, the scheduled auto payments, the subscriptions you forgot existed. According to a West Monroe Partners study, the average American has $273 per year in forgotten subscription charges. That's money just evaporating because we're not actually tracking the full ecosystem. This is where it gets really interesting. That grocery store humiliation forced me to create what I now call the financial reality check system. This isn't personal financial advice. It's a system that worked for me. Here's how it works. Step 1. List every single automatic payment and subscription. And I mean everything. Netflix, Spotify, that gym membership you haven't used in 6 months, that app trial you forgot to cancel. Step 2. Create a simple tracking document, spreadsheet, app, even a notebook. Track 3 numbers: your actual balance, your pending transactions, and your scheduled payments for the next 30 days. Step 3. Calculate your real available balance. That's your actual balance minus everything that's scheduled or pending. It's like being a detective in your own financial crime scene, except the victim and the perpetrator are both you. This system has saved me thousands of dollars over the years, not because it's complicated, but because it's comprehensive. When you know exactly where every penny is going, you stop hemorrhaging money through 1,000 tiny cuts. The psychology here is crucial. Our brains are terrible at tracking multiple streams of outgoing money. We remember the big purchases, but forget the small recurring ones. We check the balance and feel okay, then get surprised by charges we didn't see coming. But here's what most people don't realize. Those surprises aren't actually surprises. The information was always available. We just weren't looking at the complete picture. Action step you can take right now. Open your banking app and look at the last 90 days of transactions. I guarantee you'll find at least one subscription or recurring charge you either forgot about or didn't realize was still active. Cancel it. That's immediate money back in your pocket. All right, lesson number 2 comes from what I've lovingly dubbed the ramen noodle renaissance. For about 3 months straight, I lived primarily on ramen noodles. We're talking 19 cents per packet. Technically counts as a meal if you don't think too hard about nutrition. Now, before you judge my life choices, and trust me, I'm judging them too in retrospect, let me tell you about my ramen innovations. I became like a broke Gordon Ramsay, creating gourmet ramen experiences with whatever random ingredients I could find. Ramen with a cracked egg? Fancy. Ramen with wilted vegetables? Practically farm to table. Ramen with hot sauce and crushed crackers? That's fusion cuisine, baby. I got so into this that I started rating them like a food critic. The Desperation Special got 3 stars. The End of Month Surprise earned a solid 4 stars. My masterpiece, the Payday Celebration Bowl, was a perfect 5-star experience that included an actual vegetable and a protein that wasn't just the sodium packet. I was proud of my culinary creativity. I was surviving on basically no money. I was making it work. But then, one day, while eating my 400-something bowl of noodles, I had what I can only describe as a financial epiphany. I calculated that I'd spent about $60 on ramen over those 3 months. $60 that kept me fed, sure, but also $60 that taught me the most valuable lesson about money I've ever learned. Here's the lesson. There's a critical difference between cheap and economical. Ramen was cheap, but it wasn't economical. I was spending money on food that barely qualified as nutrition and left me hungry 2 hours later. Meanwhile, I could have spent that same $60 on ingredients that would have made actual meals, lasted longer, and not left me feeling like a college freshman who'd given up on life. Let me break down the math, because this is where it gets really interesting. The ramen math. $60 divided by 19 cents per packet equals approximately 315 packets. 315 packets divided by 90 days equals 3.5 packets per day. Calories per packet? Approximately 380. Total daily calories? Approximately 1,330, well below recommended. Nutritional value? Almost zero. Hunger satisfaction? Maybe 2 hours. The economical alternative. $60 on bulk rice, beans, eggs, frozen vegetables, chicken thighs. Same 90-day period. Actual balanced meals with protein, fiber, vegetables. Lasting satisfaction? 4 to 6 hours per meal. Nutritional value? Actually keeps you functional. Energy levels? You can actually think clearly and work effectively. But here's what most people don't realize. When you're constantly hungry and nutritionally depleted, you make worse financial decisions. A 2016 study from the University of Cambridge found that hunger significantly impairs decision-making, particularly around delayed gratification and future planning. You know what requires delayed gratification and future planning? Every good financial decision. So by choosing the cheapest option, I was actually sabotaging my ability to make better financial choices that could get me out of the broke cycle. This revelation led me to develop what I call cost per satisfaction analysis. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. Before buying anything, ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1. What am I really getting for this money? Not just the product, but the actual benefit. How long will it last? How well will it serve its purpose? What's the total value over time? Question 2. Am I buying the cheapest option or the best value option? These are not the same thing. The cheapest option often costs more in the long run through replacements, repairs, or inefficiency. Question 3. What's the cost per use or cost per benefit? Example, a $30 pair of shoes that lasts 3 months equals $10 per month. A $90 pair that lasts 2 years equals $3.75 per month. The expensive shoes are actually 73% cheaper. This principle applies to everything: shoes, electronics, furniture, food, even relationships if you really think about it. The goal isn't to spend the least money possible. The goal is to get the most value for the money you do spend. Quality over quantity, substance over appearance, long-term thinking over short-term fixes. Now, I get it. When you're broke, you literally might not have the $90 for the better shoes. You buy what you can afford in the moment. But here's the thing. Once you understand this principle, you start making different choices with every dollar that comes in. You start planning differently. You start seeing opportunities to break the expensive to be poor cycle. Action step. Look at one recurring purchase in your life right now. Calculate the cost per use or cost per satisfaction. Then research if there's a different option that provides better long-term value, even if it costs more upfront. You might be surprised at how much money you're leaving on the table by always choosing cheap over economical. Lesson number 3. The side hustle disaster. Lesson number 3 happened during what I now refer to as the Great Side Hustle Experiment, and it was a masterclass in how not to make money. I was so desperate that I decided to try every money-making scheme I could find online. And when I say every scheme, I mean every single ridiculous idea that promised quick cash. I tried selling things on various apps. Turns out old textbooks aren't as valuable as you'd think. I attempted food delivery, but my car was so unreliable I spent more on gas and repairs than I made in delivery fees. I even tried those survey websites where you answer questions for literal pennies. Actual pennies. But the crown jewel of this period? When I decided to become a freelance pet sitter. Now, I love animals, but I had zero experience with pet care beyond keeping a goldfish alive for 6 months in college. But the app said I could make good money, and good money was exactly what I needed. My first client wanted me to watch their prize-winning show cats for a weekend. These weren't just any cats. These were, apparently, very expensive, very pampered, very high-maintenance cats with specific dietary requirements and grooming schedules that read like a military operation manual. Everything that could go wrong went spectacularly wrong. One cat somehow got into a room it wasn't supposed to be in. Another cat refused to eat its gourmet cat food and went on a hunger strike that lasted exactly long enough for me to panic and call the owner in tears. The third cat, and I swear this cat was plotting against me personally, managed to knock over an entire shelf of what I later learned were very expensive collectibles. By the time the owners returned, their house looked like a crime scene. One cat was hiding under the bed, refusing to come out, and I was sitting in their kitchen having what could generously be called a nervous breakdown while eating their cat's gourmet treats because I was too stressed to figure out human food. They didn't pay me. In fact, I ended up paying them for the broken collectibles. So my big money-making scheme actually cost me money I didn't have. I managed to lose money I'd already lost, which shouldn't be mathematically possible, but somehow happened to me. Here's the golden lesson buried in that disaster. I learned the critical importance of playing to your strengths instead of chasing every opportunity that comes along. The side hustle economy is amazing, but only if you're actually good at the hustle you choose. Here's what nobody tells you about side hustles. Random opportunity chasing keeps you broke because you're constantly starting from zero. Think about it. Every new side hustle requires learning new skills, building new systems, making beginner mistakes. You're spending all your energy on the learning curve instead of earning money. According to research from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it takes an average of 400 to 500 hours to reach basic competency in a new skill. That's 10 to 12 weeks of full-time work just to get okay at something. But here's what most people don't realize. You already have skills that other people would pay for. You just haven't identified them or figured out how to monetize them. Instead of randomly trying everything, I should have asked 3 questions. Question 1. What am I naturally good at? Not what you wish you were good at or what sounds cool. What do you actually do well with minimal effort? Question 2. What do people already come to me for help with? Your friends and family already tell you what skills you have. You just might not be listening. What do people ask you about? What do they say you're good at? Question 3. What feels easy to me but difficult to others? This is the gold mine. Skills that feel effortless to you are often valuable to people who struggle with them. For me, it turned out I was pretty good at writing, organizing information, and explaining complicated things in simple ways. Who knew? Definitely not me when I was trying to become a professional cat watcher. This led me to develop what I call the skill stack strategy. Instead of learning completely new skills to make money, you focus on improving and monetizing the skills you already have, then strategically add complementary skills that multiply your value. Here's how it works. Step 1. Audit your existing skills. Make a list of everything you're reasonably good at. Include soft skills like communication, organization, problem solving. Include hobbies and interests. Step 2. Research market demand. Which of these skills do people actually pay for? Check freelance platforms, job boards, local community needs. Step 3. Start with your strongest skill. Pick the one you're best at or enjoy most. This is your foundation. Step 4. Add one complementary skill. Choose something that enhances your primary skill and isn't too difficult to learn. Example, if you're good at writing, add basic SEO knowledge. Now you're not just a writer, you're a writer who can help businesses get found online. That's worth significantly more money. Step 5. Build your unique combination. The goal is creating a skill stack that few other people have. You don't need to be the best at any one thing. You need to be the only person offering that particular combination. Once I started focusing on opportunities that matched my existing abilities, instead of opportunities that just promised quick money, everything changed. I wasn't fighting against my natural tendencies anymore. I was working with them. Instead of spending 80% of my energy trying to become competent and 20% actually earning money, I flipped it, 20% improving what I was already good at, 80% earning with those skills. The psychological trap here. We think the money is in learning new things, but real money comes from being excellent at things you're naturally inclined toward. Action step. Write down 3 skills you already have. Then spend 15 minutes researching how people monetize those specific skills. I guarantee you'll find opportunities you didn't know existed. Now, these 3 lessons, tracking your full financial picture, understanding value over price, and leveraging your natural strengths, these are the foundation. They're about building awareness and working with your reality instead of against it. But here's the thing. I learned one more lesson during my broke era that was even more powerful, where I become an extreme couponer with a binder that took over my dining room table. The last lesson is about where you focus your energy, and honestly, this made the biggest difference in my long-term financial stability. I'm breaking it down in part 2, along with how all 4 of these lessons work together to create what I call a reality-based financial system. But first, here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one lesson from this video, the tracking system, the value analysis, or the skill stack, and take one small action on it today. If it's tracking, spend 15 minutes listing your subscriptions and automatic payments. If it's value analysis, calculate the cost per use on one recurring purchase. If it's the skill stack, write down 3 things you're naturally good at and spend 10 minutes researching how people monetize them. One lesson, one action, today. Then, drop a comment below telling me which lesson hit home for you. And, if you're feeling brave, share your own financial disaster moment. We're all in this together. If this helped you, hit that like button so YouTube shows this to more people who need it. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss part 2, where I reveal the last lesson that changed everything about how I approached money, not just what I did with it. Now go take that one action. Your future self is waiting. See you in part 2.